Ahoy there, mateys! Welcome aboard the Riff, Raff podcast. We are the pirates of the spicy waters. Come along with us and hoist the sail. We're navigating life through story and tale. We'll help you embrace the way you're wired, sharing laughs and lessons to get you inspired. If you join us, we will help you see there are a lot of ways to sail the neurospicy sea.
Your puns.
Are those glasses, Sydney, help you with light or with sensory issues?
Yes.
Cool.
Sorry,
Is it the color or just having sunglasses?
Having sunglasses and it helps reduce the brightness of the light.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was a specific color or there was.
Yeah.
Cool.
All good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and pressed record.
Well,
I know. I saw the numbers on the screen.
You know how this works.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt because it was a great question. And then I was like, do I stop? Do I not? Anyway. So good morning.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at. We're in shark infested waters today. Just giving everybody a heads up that we're all having oh my God.
And English issues.
Apparently, mouth function is impaired. Maddie is dealing with serious allergies. Sydney's having some stuff going on, and Paul's having technology issues.
He's stuck on the island of Hawaii.
I do love that shirt, like phenomenally a lot. So for those of you that are listening and not watching, welcome to the Riff Raff podcast. And we got 4 pirates on here today. And one of our pirates has embraced their Hawaiian roots. And he's doing some hula. But I love that shirt, Paul. And I'm being serious. I think it looks awesome. So funnily enough, our topic for today is communication, and then we've all had issues. So I think the universe, right now I'm looking at the dashboard for the platform that we're on, and on the right-hand side, it says, heads up, Paul Coleman is experiencing connectivity issues. Ask them to refresh and re-enter the studio. And then it says, what should I do? And I'm thinking, we just jumped the shark, folks. Like, we're gonna Fonzie it. No?
I know the expression, but I don't think it's actually the correct one. But I can't stop myself from not saying that. Sorry.
Well, jumping the shark with taking a chance and being brave. I mean, in my view.
Well, okay. So now that you've said the term, jumping the shark is a term that's used when a TV show introduces an episode that just changes the tenor of the show, and the show before that was the last good show. So jumping the shark means you're going to go downhill from here. So I don't think we're jumping the shark. I hope we're not jumping the shark. We may be jumping the shark on this platform today.
In Happy Days vernacular, that was the beginning of the end for the decent run of Happy Days. But for our purposes, we're going to say we're going to get over this hurdle and jump into communication, and yay. So
hey.
Hey, maybe if I just punch the computer, it'll start working.
I've heard that works in the past. Yeah. It's a love tap.
I watched my neighbor go out because their air conditioner wasn't working properly, and they literally took a hammer.
Well, that's how the doctor. Yeah, that's how the doctor gets the TARDIS to go sometimes.
Fair, but we're not interdimensional travelers, so I'm thinking that the impact of the hammer on the air conditioner did not have the desired let's get going situation.
Yeah.
Actually.
I'm like, it's funny that Paul said that thinking. Sorry, I was just thinking because when Maddie was explaining, it's like we should talk about not now, but like just artistic explaining. It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's a Chisholm explain moment. Boom. Yeah.
I didn't put mascara on. I did not.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yes, please.
It comes free on the compressor if it's seized. That's all I'll say.
Oh.
Freezer. So, folks, for those of you that missed Paul's expert advice, if your compressor is frozen, whack it with a hammer and see what happens. And just for context, Paul spent a significant number of years in the trades and
that's my expert advice.
So you want to compress the compressor by whacking it?
You want to hit it on the side, right? Because that will just jog something loose.
I would say more on the shaft, but
HR.
Yes, you rang.
Oh, we're going for the Happy Days version of jumping the shark at this.
My gosh.
Speaking of communication,
What about it?
Welcome to an entirely neurodivergent team who each have one, if not more, letters after their name. So I'll jump the shark first and say, hi, I'm Elizabeth Plouffe and I have ADHD. There's no way to I am that one as far as I have discovered so far. What is that noise?
Paul.
There's some
Sydney.
kind of an alarm going off in the background for somebody.
Somebody's got this little whoosh. It's very nice, but it's weirdly out of.
My phone's on silent.
My phone's on silent too.
Closed.
It's not me. Okay.
I got nothing here.
So here's the fun thing about ADHD, and we're going to go through everybody's letters in a moment, so this all makes sense. I won't be able to let that go if it continues because it will now grab my attention every time it happens and distracts me. This is why I work in open co-working spaces.
I would suggest that the next time it goes off, we see whose window lit up.
Genius.
I know whose it is.
We need when we put
I don't have anything going. Legitsky, I got nothing.
Yeah, my phone's on silent.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely you were highlighted when the jingle went.
But I also could have been talking.
I think
Yeah. So thanks, Paul. So if I'm talking and the jingle goes off, then I'm just getting assigned this situation by default.
So I'm looking right now. And if Sydney and I are talking, say something, Sydney.
Hello, hi.
Both our things are highlighted.
Right. So if I'm talking when the jingle goes off,
and no one lights up.
Yeah.
Hang on. If I'm talking when the jingle goes off and it's me, then how do you know it's just me talking or me is the jingle?
Because as you're talking, if I'm talking too, I light up too. So if you were talking and the jingle went off and mine lit up, then you know it's me.
It might not pick up the jingle. We're getting distracted. Anyway, hi. So I have ADHD, and welcome to this neurodivergent conversation. Because this is what happens periodically on team meetings and project meetings and what have you, is that we will get really, really focused on a particularly nonsensical piece of information. And it can derail for a few minutes. So Sydney, tell us about your letter.
My letters. So I'm autistic, ADHD. I have some mental health struggles that I deal with. And that's all I'm going to say for now.
Valid. Santa?
Hi, Paul. For those of you listening, I have a big white beard. That's why she calls me Santa.
Full-time Santa.
Yeah, I have ADHD and under investigation for other things.
And TBD.
TBD. Yeah, and TBD.
TBD.
I like
TBD.
that.
Yeah.
TBD.
I took so I asked the team, we're going to get to Maddie's letters, but I asked the team because I work with individuals and some of them are exploring how many letters they might have after their name. And I am not qualified by any level to diagnose anybody. But I have enough lived experience that if somebody's having those questions or I see certain things in the conversation, I will direct them to resources because that's not up to me to tell them, but it is up to me to give them resources. And the team gave me Paul gave me this fantastic link because folks, will say, are you sure you're not autistic? And I'm like, I can't say my mother had me tested because she didn't. So I took the test and I am not. But when I took the ADHD test that somebody provided.
Bing, 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 bing. Oh, look at there. Another color. Bing.
Got all the points on that one. So, Maddie?
All right. I have more letters than Vanna can put on a board.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah. Childhood, back in the 80s, ADHD. And then a whole sort of things that they're trying to figure out what's wrong with me and how to make me, less of a crazy kid. In the end, in my late 30s, autism. I have 4 kids. They're all autistic. Go figure. Yeah.
Apple tree.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But three of them, three of the nuts that fell off the tree are also experiencing the various degrees of ADHD as well. Yeah.
So I came into my understanding of being neurodivergent through my son being diagnosed. He is autistic, dyslexic, and ADHD. And my husband's also dyslexic. My daughter's going through to be tested for ADHD. And we're going to move into communication, but we always try and include an encouraging situation. If you're listening and you're new to learning about neurodivergence, then welcome. And, we are not a typical team, but we probably are a typical team. I've actually never worked with an entirely neurodivergent team before. And it's been awesome because I feel so much better. I don't think I've ever said this in front of the whole team, but I feel so much better knowing I'm okay. And it's because of working with this team that I've learned that I'm okay. Thank you. Because like Maddie shared, we all go through a lot of shaming and finger pointing and putting the blame on us for not being able to navigate things or reading the room wrong or not getting the hint, which gets into communication. And working with this team, I've worked with Paul for the last 7 years, worked with Maddie for the last 6 years, 7 years, Paul, by the way. Thanks for that face. That was awesome. I feel so loved.
Paul's communicating.
It was the time issue. It's like time. As we get older, time is a little bit weird for us.
It is.
Oh.
Timey wimey.
Sydney hasn't expressed. It's not me. It's not me.
That was me, but that was not a ding dong. That was an Avengers theme.
Yes, but it was also a phone not on silent.
Mm.
I was trying to have a moment, but now it's ruined.
Well, you had the moment, but then it got squirreled.
It did.
Go figure.
That's my ding, 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 ding. That's my noise, not the little jingle bell situation. Just saying. Okay, moving on. So now I've lost the momentum.
You've been working with Paul for 7 years.
Right, Maddie, and then Paul had a stroke. We realized it's 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie for 6 years.
Yep. 2021, y'all.
5 years.
when we did our first podcast together, and we also worked. Oh, yeah.
We're 14 minutes in, and we haven't talked about anything important. So then, Sydney.
Ran it in, folks. Ran it in. And Paul has a hard stop at 10.
Yeah. What's that, Paul?
So we talked about me.
You're always important. We know that.
You're Santa.
To be helpful to others. And then Sydney last year.
Yes, so it's a year.
It's a year. So what's kind of cool about all of that, folks, is that if you're in a situation, either you are, already in the knowing around your neurodivergence, or you're new to it, communication can be one of the struggles. Because if you don't understand the way your brain functions, if you don't understand the way sensory issues might impact, or being in a team, or all those types of things, then you don't have any way to share how it's best for you to communicate. And there's no understanding in the room of why certain things might happen. And it's harder to build trust, and it's harder to showcase your expertise. Like, just overall, things get harder. So I would consider, out of the four of us, Maddie to be the most verbose. They're covering their face.
You got it, dude. You got it, dude.
You got it. Thank you, Mary Kate and Ashley. So Maddie, what would you? You've been really, like, one thing I've really appreciated. Yeah. You are very vulnerable, and you are very honest about how it's been for you, and where it's been a strength and where it's been a challenge. So, from a communication lens, what would you say your journey's been like?
Okay, so as much as I like to talk a lot, and I joke that you put a microphone in front of me, and or a camera, and just give me a topic and I'll go. That's like it's been a journey for me to find my voice in terms of the communicating when things are not clear, or I'm not sure of situations. It's taken me a while, really until the last decade, for me to understand who I am and my role in things. And in order for me to be able to have that voice, I had to learn to listen. Communication is a two-way street, and I don't think I realized that through the first 40 years of my life. It's the last 10 years that I learned to listen, which has allowed me to speak more. And when I speak, have more clarity. One of the things that I love doing, I'm on a program called Echo Autism, where there's a hub of experts who share information and share wisdom, share knowledge to folks out in the community, in our case pediatricians, psychologists, educators, and then we work through a case that somebody brings up, and it's really like the term we have in Echo, it's all teach, all learn. And I learn just as much from these things, from all of the people around the screen, as they learn from me. And that's really been, this last 10 years has been all teach, all learn. I share and I learn. And I think that's what makes, I think it's what's made me more effective. It's because I'm learning from the people that I'm also sharing with.
So would we all be okay if we went around and did what Maddie just did, and then maybe talk about our current communication challenges and strengths, and maybe how communication works best for us? Is that okay with everybody?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. That's fine. And I'm on
so
mute.
didn't we have a talk about this just 30 seconds ago, it feels like?
That wasn't my thing.
But it wasn't on mute either, so
But it is on mute. I just muted the phone, and it's still doing that.
Throw it in another room then.
All right. Moving on.
Communication.
Can you repeat the question, please?
So when we look at our communication journey, right, and what that's looked like for us over, I don't know, can be life, can be, you can pick a time. What would you say is you've learned, I guess, about your communication situation?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm healing my relationship with communication, actually, because when I was younger, I had to go to speech therapy, and so I couldn't say my R's properly. I would speak too fast. And so a lot of people told my parents and told me that I would never be able to communicate properly. And so that stung for a very long time. And
that's awful.
And I would also have, because I didn't want to, people would say I would speak too fast or I couldn't say my R's properly. Sometimes at the time I didn't know it was selective mutism, but it was selective mutism. And so all these different things. And now my family, my loved ones make the joke that I don't shut up, and, and so the stark contrast. And through finding my voice, I was involved with Girl Guides of Canada, that really started to get me out of my shell and to express myself in different ways and to understand that sometimes I might still speak too fast, or sometimes I still might blunder with saying my R sometimes. Or now I actually also have a stutter that comes out occasionally, and that there's no right way to communicate. And I think when I was younger, I thought there was a right way to communicate, or I felt like everyone could communicate better than I could. But everyone communicates differently, and just recognizing that my needs change every day, and that's part of my communication and how I want to relate to others. I want to build relationships with others. And really that stems from, and even just, I'm wearing sensory glasses today because I'm having some sensory difficulties, and just being able to communicate that in the chat before getting on this call, and recognizing that my needs are valid. And I think that's at the heart of my journey with communication.
That's very cool. I'm sorry you went. I'm going to say to everybody, I'm sorry we went through that. I'm sorry we went through such a shaming period.
Thank you.
So, Paul, what do you think?
I would say, okay, so being late diagnosed has uncovered so many things in my life that just make more sense. So it's a lot more freeing. One of the things that I struggle with is processing. Like, I have a delay when I talk, especially if I'm trying to get a point out. I'll be talking and I'll pause, and then it'll take me a few seconds. People have a tendency to hear that silence piece and step in and talk, or try and finish your sentence for you, or think you haven't, you don't have the idea formed enough to speak it, so they'll take over and take off, and that is so damaging. I find myself, I just end up just stop talking. I'll just shut up if I'm in a group of people where people start doing that. But at the same point, my ADHD, if somebody is a slow talker, my brain is firing off and going, "Would you just finish the thought?" I know what you're going to say already. It's awful. It's awful. Yeah, it is. It's awful. Like, and God bless me with a son with the same pause. And my wife will say to me, "You of all people should have more patience."
I love Colleen so much right
now. We're all thinking it. We're all feeling it.
100%. You have 4 people with ADHD on a meeting who are all simultaneously trying to be respectful of everybody else's processing time. And I will tell you that there are some times where there's a gap and I have to physically tell myself, shut up. They're getting there. They just need that moment. You do not have to fill the silence. And then I have to really focus on their silence in order to be respectful of their process. And that's not to say I don't periodically fall down with that, but in the last 5 years, I've made a really concerted effort to not fill the space and to try and remember to say respectfully, do you need a moment to process that? Because then we can both sit comfortably in the silence. That person doesn't feel awkward that they need that moment. And I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'll sit and wait.
The thing is, though, that I could have the thought fully processed. And it's just that pause is necessary with my brain to get the words out. And so it's not a matter of, do I need a minute to process it? No. And that actually can make it worse. Now I'm thinking about the fact that, okay, people are noticing this pause more than I see. There it is again.
No, that makes sense though. Yeah. I know what you're going to say.
So do I, though.
So when I say, do you need a minute to process, what I mean by that is, do you need to, like, whatever your process is, not processing the idea.
Yeah.
So would it be better to say, do you need a sec?
No, I think it would just respect the pause.
Respect the pause. Valid.
Okay. I want a shirt with that. I'm going to get a shirt with that on.
Respect the pause.
Yeah. But with bunny pause, that would what I need. Yes, respect the pause.
That's something. So I'm in a similar situation to. Well, I don't know. From a very, very young age, I have been very, very verbal. And my parents also never used euphemisms, never used baby language. So here I am, this very small kid who is very precocious, very social, very communicative, using language that most kids my age weren't using. So I'm already a bit weird. I'm already, if you think my filter is bad now, you should have met me when I was 10. I can remember specific. Here's a weird. I've been thinking about this a lot. The way my brain communicates in memory. I am standing in my parents' friend's house, and I am 10 years old, and I am a bridesmaid in their daughter's wedding. And somebody gave them a nice bedside lamp. And somebody made a comment about the nice bedside lamp. And I'm like, well, when they're on their honeymoon, that lamp's not going to be on very much. I am 10. And all of the adults in the room spun around like an exorcist and just went, what did you just say? No idea where that came from. Mm-hmm. No idea. And I didn't understand the context of what I had said. Like, no idea. And that kind of stuff used to happen to me all the time. So I would get shamed. And I would get, you can't talk like that. And you can't this. And you can't that. And where did you learn that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I had ADHD with extremely, like, it's called hyperacuity. So my hearing is off the chain.
Yeah.
I could not tell you. My parents could have been watching a TV show and I heard something. And then my ADHD brain scrambled it around and saved it for, just an opportune moment.
We're just a bunch of Johnny Fives needing more input.
What is a Johnny Five? Oh, stop. I know. I lose my weirdo card every podcast.
This is not shaming. This is just...
Oh my God, that movie's
Johnny
40
Five.
years old.
Johnny Five is alive. Need more input. Beautiful Stephanie.
No clearer. I'm assuming it's a
called Short Circuit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. With Johnny Five was a robot and came alive, and it was all about, need more input was used a lot because he needed to know more about everything else.
I have lost my weirdo card more times than I can count.
No, actually, you're in a room full of even bigger weirdos. It's not that you've lost your weirdo card. We just have bigger weirdo cards.
I need to up the ante. Got it.
You're 4-star.
Yeah, we're gold star weirdos.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a wannabe. It's
You're
fine.
common weirdo.
I'm a common weirdo. Oh, I like that. That could be a t-shirt.
You're a yeah. I was gonna make a comment about.
Spent more time outside.
Well, see, you've been tempered by the Girl Guides, so you have a different. The time you spent with the Girl Guides is not time you were spending watching movies and reading comic books.
That's what I'm saying. I actually saw a tree now and again when I was anyway. So
I used to read comics in a tree that I climbed. So,
well done.
Exactly.
But that is an interesting connection because Sydney and I. No, seriously, because Sydney and I were in Girl Guides. Together, not together, but we were both in Girl. I'm significantly older than Sydney, so. But I grew up in the generation of Girl Guides where somebody like me, who doesn't do well with rules, doesn't do well with subtle communication, doesn't do well with agendas and things like that from a communication perspective, did not pick up some of the things that were being said to me in Girl Guides as things that I should take action on. I'd be like, well, that's nice. And then I just keep doing it the way I wanted to do it.
Just another bit of information.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'll file that away. And if I, feel like that's a good idea, then, maybe I'll, which by the way, 30, 40 years ago was not how Girl Guides was structured. And nowadays, would we say, so within our vintages, would we say that we've seen a change in communication? Maybe specific to neurodivergence, maybe more awareness of different styles of communication. And
my youngest daughter was in Girl Guides, and it was the first place that she found connection with people her age.
Wow.
Me too.
Yeah.
I did.
Sorry, Sydney, you were going to say something, so I'll go ahead.
I was just going to say, thank you, Paul. See, look at that communicating.
Gold star.
I think
I have a silver star because I interrupted twice.
You just lost your silver star. Sydney, go.
Oh, star.
But it would be more frustrating, but I know this is who Maddie is, right?
I know.
And I think that's kind of also part of communication. You know the person. And so when you don't know the person, you could think it's malicious attackers. Like when I first met Maddie and saw these outbursts, it was like, am I doing something wrong? But as it kept happening, it was like, oh, it has nothing to do with me. This is just how Maddie processes the world. This is how Maddie communicates. This is how Maddie shows up. And that's nothing to do with me. And so that's kind of goes with the point I want to make about needs and how needs are different depending on the person, not regardless of neurotype, right? And so, and even our own needs look different every day. Like some days, and so just being mindful of that. And I think really, you have to really know yourself and be open to continuously knowing yourself and growing and being like, what works well for me, what doesn't work well for me. And I think really understanding that your needs are valid and that your needs are ever changing and evolving, but also be mindful that the person beside you is the same thing. And so I think that's what I would like to share on that.
Well, and to your point, most of the time, so to be clear with everybody, Maddie and I spend more time with Maddie in conversations about, I can't even tell you how many different things. And so the way I react to Maddie can be new to some folks, but Maddie's fully aware of, right? So that's the other piece of it. And I'm so glad you said that, Sydney, about we never know what's going on with the other person. And so for folks, I can only speak through the ADHD lens. We can sometimes internalize that and think we've done something, which sometimes we have, right? Captus interruptus over there. Sometimes, and I'm the same way. If I have something that's just, that can be scary for some folks because it's a lot of energy that we're bringing to the table because we're very, very eager about what we want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're missing the cues from a communication perspective that we're being overwhelming to the other person, which I've been told before, then that can create other challenges. So, Paul, you had a point.
It's gone. It's dead. Well, it was valid then, but it's okay.
It's always valid.
No, it's carry on. It's okay.
Okay. So I think that was the other thing that we were going to talk about. Have there been times where the way we communicate have created difficulties, not from a needs perspective, but from a style perspective?
Yeah. So one of the challenges I have is, like, when it comes to a verbal conversation, I'm there in the moment. I'm aware, I'm listening, I'm communicating, but I'm not retaining. I'm not remembering the words. So places that respect, like when I was in Nortel and I would have conversations in the hallway, I would say to people, okay, can you email me what you're looking for? Can you just email me what we've talked about, and then I can do that. And when that was respected, things got done. But in other places, they're thinking that, well, if it's important to you, you'll remember. I don't know how many times it's been said to me. Well, the point is, no matter how many times you say that, I will not retain that in the moment. If I'm not writing something down, like if there's no tactile way to it, or if I'm not seeing words on a screen, there's nothing I can do to force me to remember this. I remember things that I see. I remember things that I have tactile, because I have a visual memory. Like it's an extraordinary visual memory, but I need a visual or a tactile connection to the audio. If it's just pure, like one of the things I hate in meetings is when it's just talking and there's no agenda, there's no PowerPoint, there's nothing to guide us through it. I can be in the moment, but it's really hard for me to retain, which is why I try to write notes on all the meetings I'm part of. If I'm writing notes, I'm there, and I'm there after. But if I'm just in a meeting and I can't write notes, or if I'm talking, I can't write notes while I'm talking. So that's my communication challenge that I have in a work world.
So kinesthetic processing allows you to change the place in the brain where things are stored so that you can retrieve it better later.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense, because I'm a kinesthetic person.
It's a multimodal way of most people are not just one way of communicating. They're generally, especially I find with autistics, there's generally two that work together.
So one of the things we do during meetings, if you happen to be in a workplace, there's a variety of tools for online meetings, obviously. I am not familiar with all of them. We've gone away from Zoom, and so we use Google Meet as part of our team meetings. And one of the reasons we do that is it provides notes. There's a note taker that we are we're 99% diligent about making sure it's turned on from the beginning. It's supposed to be automated. Sometimes Google has its way with our technology, but that then provides that written record for me. I agree. If I'm in a meeting, the challenge is sometimes I can get so focused on taking the notes, I miss the next thing that the person's saying.
Yeah.
And then I'm hooped because I've missed something. And I used to get in trouble. Classroom. You have to take notes. You have to da-da-da-da. Okay, but my brain is either going to focus on taking notes or it's going to focus on whatever, but you're not going to get both.
Yeah.
It's not going to work that way. So every meeting that we have has Gemini notes attached to them, which for Maddie also likes to have the transcription. I think we usually leave that on. I don't know.
I think so. Because I like to, sometimes I say nuggets and a summary doesn't get me the nugget. And I want to get the nugget of what I said.
Valid. It also breaks the meeting down into an agenda in that it clarifies who was in the meeting, what it perceives as the top level things that were discussed in the meeting. Then it breaks down the conversation points section by section. And then they've recently changed the format, and now the action items are at the top.
Yeah.
As long as it's there, then it. But it also provides a record of what was discussed. Paul, is there anything that you have found that has created is a need for communication, or is there a way you show up that sometimes, like, whatever you want to share?
If we're talking like work-wise, corporate-wise, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with Maddie. I need written direction. If you tell me something in a conversation that needs to get done, it's a crapshoot whether it's going to get done or not. But if I'm given a task list and a date to finish it, that really helps. Because I suck at note taking, so. But yeah, that's one big thing. That's one thing that I know some people listening. There's two trains of thought out there, and it's like, do you disclose or don't you disclose? And I get the train of thought, like, that you don't want to disclose if you're new in a job, or, like, you don't want to be judged. But really, if you don't, how can you have accommodations made for you? Like, I went through my whole life not disclosing because I didn't know. And so all these struggles were internal and held on to. And I would hope that disclosing nowadays, once you know that you would, it's not about accommodations. It's about people understanding how better to communicate with you, right? It's not that you are less than somebody else. It's just how you communicate. And without disclosing that, it's, or sharing, we don't have to call it disclosing, just sharing with your coworkers or with people around you that if something happens that really you struggle with, then share it. Whether it's a neurodivergent thing or not, that
was going to be my, it's got nothing to do with, we shouldn't say that. I'll take that back. It's not that it has nothing to do with being neurodivergent, but you don't have to share if you're neurodivergent in order to say, hey, you know what? We all communicate differently. My brain happens to process better when you provide the written situation. So for our team, we have the Google Notes that are always available, attached to every meeting. We have chat workspaces where it provides a written record of stuff. We have Task Manager when we need it, which we're working towards making sure that we put tasks in certain places. That's more project specific versus day-to-day specific. And then we also try and provide an email trail on certain things if it's with an outside partner or what have you. So that one thing actually I just learned, and had a situation and I did an email. I didn't put an action in it. It's totally my bad. Paul, can I talk about it? I mean, I'm talking about it and I'm asking you now.
What we're talking about?
The email situation from yesterday.
Okay.
And it was completely on me. And this is where I have to learn better about communication specifics. Because in my brain, me including a person on an email means they're in the conversation. That's just how my brain thinks. And nowhere in the email, I included Paul in the email and whatever, but nowhere did I say, and Paul, if you could please respond to the email and whatever. My brain said, I have included Paul on the email. Therefore, Paul understands.
I would have interpreted like Paul. Yeah. Unless I'm called out in an email, there's a lot of, I get so many emails and they're all, unless it says, Maddie, it's informational. That's.
And I totally, my brain, I had completed the loop. So, but this is my point to sharing this, is that in my brain, I had completed the loop because I had included Paul on the email. Total dumb moment where I didn't say specifically to Paul, which I should have. And I'm shitting on myself, but I should have. And said to Paul, hey, if you could, respond and whatever, like that would be great to me. And this is the word, folks, that neurodivergence hate. It was implied hate that word. It was implied. No. I know.
Yeah.
And I did it. I implied him.
How dare you be human, though?
How dare I be human? I know.
You know the saying about assume? The word assume? There needs to be one like that for implied.
You're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely. But this is my. So much of communication has implied meaning, or implied next step, or implied whatever. And here's the ironic thing, Paul. I got shamed, like aimed, growing up because I didn't pick up the implied next step or the implied meaning or whatever. You'd think.
Yeah. The term I learned like 20 years ago that I loved to explain this is that there's so much in a conversation that seems to be elided. You know, there's a ... of stuff that we're not seeing, but the person who is giving it is like the context has not been shared because the context is implied. So yeah, elided is.
Can I give you an example that happened yesterday with my mother?
Oh, please. Oh,
as long as it wasn't me, I'm good.
No,
I'm still
I was like, it's not me, right? Because like I know I
got too much to
I know I can be a loss.
The
A
neurodivergent
little bit extra.
No, it's about my mother. So we got my mom flowers for Mother's Day, and so she had cleaned the vase that the flowers were in because none of the flowers were dead, and so she put them, disposed of them, and then had to clean the vase. And then I was putting away the dishes, and I said, "Mom, where do you want the vase?" And she's like, "Oh, just put it in a cupboard." I'm like, "No, I know she wants it somewhere specific, but like I think I know where it goes, but I'm like, maybe she wants it somewhere different, or like, just tell me where you want it because I don't want." And she's like, "Just put it in the cupboard." I'm like, "Which one do you want it in?" And she's like, "It doesn't matter. Just put it in the cupboard." So
okay. Know it matters.
I know it matters. That's why I'm pressing her to get this information because I know it matters. And I'm like, I think it goes here, but then it was kind of crowded the way it usually goes, or way I thought it would go. So I was like, maybe it's not going to go there this time. So I put it in another cupboard because she said it doesn't matter. And then she comes in and she's like, "Oh, where'd you put it?" I was like, "I put it in this cupboard." She's like, "No, it goes in this cupboard." I was like, "I asked you which cupboard it goes in." And she took it off the cupboard, put it in the cupboard. She moved things around in that cupboard to make it fit in the place where I thought it was supposed to go, but it was not. And she's like, "Was that so hard?" And it doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm like, oh.
Yes.
How many of us would have put it in the wrong cupboard on purpose because it wasn't?
I've also done that previously.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That okay. That's another way that we respond. Okay, over time. Well, yeah. So if we've had all these experiences that, well, this is wrong. Well, this is wrong. Well, you got it wrong. That we then, well, if we're going to be wrong, we're going to choose how we're going to be wrong.
I've done that so many times.
Exercise control somewhere. Paul, I'm just keeping in mind, we've got like a minute left of call time.
I do gotta go. Yeah.
Do you want to? Because we're gonna wrap up. Do you want to? Do we want to say bye to Paul, and then we're not going to go.
It's always such a struggle for me to say bye.
Yeah, well, I'm aware.
We're going
you just
first.
did.
Maybe
hey.
It works.
I'm telling you specifically, you need to say bye.
Bye.
Go. Bye, Paul.
Bye.
See you, everybody.
Bye, Paul.
Bye,
Paul.
But that's when my family answers around where to put things. My answer is so specific because if I had a kid ask, "Where do I put the vase or vase, whatever you potato?" There's two spots in my house you put a vase. One, my first response would be, "Well, put it back where you got it," which is not helpful. Or it either goes on the credenza on the left-hand side and da-da-da-da, or
No context.
Or it goes on the right-hand side in the cupboard. What that person has to do is tell me which vase it is, because each vase, this is how wackadoo my brain is, has a specific home.
That's what my mom does too. So I literally even showed her which one it was.
Yeah.
Oh, then I would be able to immediately tell you where that has to go. And I would be annoyed if it ended up there.
So I have several kids that cannot handle more than one instruction. Like you can't say, go do this, then this, because one of them will get done, but they may mix up which it's so
my husband does that.
I'm very flexible, and if I see something in the wrong place, if I'm happy that the attempt was made, really, to be honest. My biggest challenge with my kids is to get them to clean up their own crap, because that's the only rule I have, right? Clean up your own mess. If everybody did that, the place would be okay, and then we just have to work on the small things that are shared things. So I'm just happy if they've done the attempt.
I am up to so you're right, and
my mom
try
is not.
To have great.
That's why I asked her the clarifying questions, and she still.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, Sydney, if I was your mom, I would have given you a hyper-specific situation, because nothing frustrates me more. My daughter just did this. Speaking of communication.
Family time.
I cut my own hair. And I know that sounds weird to folks, but I have a very good hairdresser. I love her to bits. I've had her for years.
It's the mirror.
She's now out in Brantford.
Oh, okay.
It's a problem. So I have professional scissors, starting with the ones I bought to help Maddie's hair. And then I have grown my collection.
Yeah.
Yes, that's another story. Don't show me the fur. Yeah, that's...
Anyway. Show me the finger, and I'll show you the fur.
Valid. So I have 3 sets of hairdressing scissors that I keep in a specific drawer and in a specific place and whatever. I go to find them the other day because I got some things that need a... Nobody in my family will respond. So we have set up a group chat to handle family discussions, because people will say things to me when I am knee deep in writing, working, watching a show, like whatever it is. If they haven't asked for my attention and they've just walked into the room and announced something and then walked out again, I guarantee you 90% of the time, I was not listening. And then the other thing is, my daughter could be telling my husband something and I'm in the room and she thinks I'm listening to that conversation. And sometimes I am, but you're right. For the most part, you're talking to dad. Like, I might tune in for a second just because I'm nosy, but then I tune back out unless it's something juicy, because I don't.
Valid.
Like, I don't want to know. I got other spaces in my brain that have things that need to go in there. So I cannot find my hairdressing scissors anywhere. All 3 pairs are gone. Gone. And nobody's responding. I'm communicating the shit out of this because now it's making me a little crazy. Daughter took all of my hairdressing scissors outside to clip the dog. To clip the dog. To clip the dog, people.
For real?
For real. Some of these scissors are $65. These are not like your garden or your crafty. These are like proper hairdressing scissors. On top of that, she then puts them back where we keep the dog trimming stuff.
Oh my God.
Not the drawer where they have lived for the last 25 years.
My daughter has gotten used, my youngest daughter has gotten used to a particular tone of voice, a very sing-songy voice I use when I ask the world, questions about, I wonder where this particular thing would be. And I break into song about, this thing that I need to find. Where are the scissors? I've lost my mind. They once were here. They once were there. And I can't find them anywhere. Where would they be? And then my daughter goes, I have them almost every time.
But you've created...
So her out won't work, but I know how to be effective with her. And
But you've created a habit. No, that's really cool because my family, we've done similar things. Certain tones of voice or certain songs or whatever are our way of communicating certain things. If my family hears me in the basement, and forgive me, folks, if you have sensitive ears, and all they hear is, what the fuck? What the fuck? I live with adults, by the way. I'm not harming children. One, they know I'm annoyed. And two, they know likely one of them is the cause of it because I'm looking for something that they have misplaced. Folks, when you have ADHD, where things live is really important. And I know that sounds super weird. This is going to make me cry. It causes me such stress.
Me too.
Because my memory is so faloopy that I rely on things being in the same place to not shame myself and going, oh, you've misplaced it again. Like, why can't you keep your stuff tidy? All of those little refrains we used to hear when we were growing up. And so I'm talking to her last night and I'm like, why wouldn't you put them back? And she looks at me, straight faced, by the way, and says, well, they're with the dog stuff. I'm sorry. Why is that logical?
She recontextualized it based on the last use.
I almost recontextualized her face.
Yes, but so she's just proved her ADHD. That, like, you don't need another test.
There's no doubt.
Her ADHD brain re-indexed based on the last use, and it makes sense to it's also why we put things in particular places that other people don't, even though we get something from some place, but we use it for this, then we're going to put it back where we use this. That's why my scissors keep missing. And there's two places
why
where
can't
this.
Do that?
There's two places where these scissors can be.
Ago. Yeah. So no.
Yeah. I actually, my daughter recently has been really bad about taking plates and bowls and forks and spoons into her room and not bringing them back, to the point where all of the spoons were gone. Because I don't keep very many, because I don't want to wash very many dishes, because experience. So I have bought a set of I have bought some a box of bamboo spoons, and I keep them in my office, and I only use them for me. And I've told her, it's like, I'm not gonna get, if you want soup, wash it. Bring the spoons back, please.
Sydney, do you find that? Is that a tool that you use? Is same spot or?
Like at my desk, so my friend comes over, and I have a lot of stuff on my desk. I have a lot of stuff. And I have a lot of interesting things and different knickknacks too. And he picked them up.
I do not know what you refer to.
And I'm like, put that back exactly where you found it. And I actually saw this thing of why I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it. But it was basically like, it's kind of like the predictability. And we have to process so much. That's one less thing we have to process.
Yes. So decision-making fatigue can create communication challenges because I have glasses on right now. For those of you that are listening, they have blue light blocking. Some of them have very specific functions, and all of them, I had to go up a diopter, but most of my glasses are the same prescription. It's not a prescription. I buy like 5 pairs for whatever. But there's a reason I have like 30 pairs of reading glasses. One, they might all look different, but two, there's a pair that sits at the dining room table. There's a pair that sits on the kitchen shelf. There's 2 pairs that sit at my chair. There's a pair that sits beside the TV. There's like 5 pairs down here at my office, because I don't want to have to remember where I left my glasses. Now, if I had to have a prescription, I would still probably put out the money. I would find the cheapest way possible to get multiple pairs, because the other thing is my husband also has to use readers, also is apparently the same strength. And so it does not occur to him that it's a problem to come and take the glasses, because his workshop is over the wall here. If he's working at his computer, he will just come and take glasses off my desk. I'm like, hey, mofo. Like, 1, I've already bought you your own. And 2, put them back if you're done. because I will lose my ever-loving mind thinking I have misplaced them again. And I don't want to go through that little shame spiral of, oh, did I screw up again and not put it back and yada, yada, yada. So I have bought him his own. He's still, his favorite pair are my pink cat eye reading glasses, and I will never get those back. I have lost them forever.
Oh.
I know my eyebrows are like up off my face, but
yeah, they are today. They make an interesting arc.
They've been very expressive.
Hello.
Another way of communicating. How many? So here's we're at 10, 11, but no, I think this is something I learned at the recent leadership summit. I ended up having the privilege of speaking with somebody who is in a high position and also happens to be deaf. Speaks, but is deaf, so can lip read, signs, everything else. And it was really intriguing because one of the things they shared was that in sign language, part of the nuance of meaning in communicating is facial expression and body language and, voice inflection and whatever. So I would ask, I am the parent of an autistic, I don't have that lens. Would you say, Sydney and Maddie, that having that lens and that implied communication around facial expression, tone, body language has worked for you, not worked for you, provided challenges?
I can go first. I think like sometimes people want to get just on a regular phone call, but especially if I don't know the person, or like even when I started dating my partner Gordon, I didn't know him enough at the time, or when I'm getting to know people and then when I do a phone call, I'm like, I sometimes can't tell tone, and I can't tell tone alone just by the voice. I need those visual cues. It helps paint a bigger picture of. I think that also stems from. I think that's autism related, and also I've struggled from some abuse in my life, and I think that stems from that. And really, seeing the facial expressions makes me understand kind of more of the context and the tone behind someone's words. And as I get to know the person, like now I can close my eyes. If Elizabeth speaks, I can literally see the nuances in her face if she says certain words. And and the same with Maddie, and same with my partner Gordon. Like once I know the person, I know them. I know it so well. It's kind of like I'm still visualizing it as I'm talking to the person on the phone now, but I can see it clearly because I've seen it before, and it allows me.
Do you find it creates safety? Do you feel safer?
Very much so.
Okay. So that is a really cool. Sorry, Maddie. I just wanted to add an action to that. So what's really cool about what all of that was cool. Thank you, Sydney. But when folks ask for a video call versus a regular phone call, like I have a 5 text limit. If I'm in a text situation with friends, they know they have about 6 texts before I'm calling them because I'm out. Like my thumbs are tired. I do not want to do this. But that is a really important way of communicating need around communication, that I need that layer so that I can get the full understanding of what you're saying.
Wouldn't that be a cool tool? Is to have a neurodivergent chat tool that you could set the time, the amount of text before that the people could have on a particular point before you can make agreement. Let's huddle. Yeah. You said you have a 6 text limit.
It's like Elizabeth GPT.
I know that. It's like this is a 2-party, consent state, right?
Oh. I have established the communication parameter multiple times, and I'm being serious about this because this is
I know.
I know.
Yeah.
But I've established this as a parameter for my brain, and so Sydney has done like the way you verbalize that. I love that's you've recognized what you need for clarity, what you need for safety, what you need to sort of build trust and a good relationship with that person is those multiple layers around communication. And being able to share that with someone then allows you the grace to be able to communicate the way that works for you, but also, like you're not doing it just to be challenging. You're doing it literally because you want to have a better relationship and understand the other person better.
Just another quick point, like, because Gordon prefers phone calls, right? And so now I can have phone calls because I can literally see the nuances in his face, but he's really just talking to me, and there's no visual, but I can now see it in my brain so clearly. Or sometimes if I am,
you have like an encyclopedia now of inflection in his voice and what that correlates to his.
I'm like, oh, what are you eating? Like he's like, and sometimes if I have moments where I like, sometimes my brain's like overwhelmed or like things. I'm like, I need to get on a video call today instead because I can't detect those nuances. But
the encyclopedia is closed right now.
It's stuck on
That's
the homepage.
A really cool way of looking at it, though, that you have built a resource around what somebody's voice means to their face, and that provides you that missing gap to be able to do a phone call instead of video because you've built up that library. That takes a ton of your resources, though, to do that.
It does.
It's got to be exhausting for the first.
At first it was really exhausting, and I think it's also like in different relationships and different. It's like I feel like it's the strongest with Gordon in that, but it's also I'm able to transfer that to others.
That's so cool. I love. So if you're somebody who struggles with that, we were talking about this at Job Lab a couple of weeks ago, and somebody came out and they were talking about the struggles they're having in a big social situation, and their immediate go-to is, oh, they don't like me. The ASD is strong in this one. Okay, so I said, let's do an exercise, and we did, and we went through. And the group gave me the answers. I did not fill in the blanks. I said, how do you tell if somebody likes you? And we went through and everybody provided, and James was there and Maddie and Sydney both know James. He actually provided, no, you did great. And then I said, okay, and how do we tell when somebody doesn't like us? And went through that whole list. I said, okay, when we look at the list of how do we tell if somebody likes us, how many of these do folks who are autistic struggle with? And they chose. It was extensive. And I said, so in the absence of data, we tell ourselves stories. And in the absence of the skills to tell how somebody likes us, we tell ourselves that the don't like me list is true. Maybe it's just there's a barrier to seeing the like me list. And I would just watched the people who had been struggling with this, their whole brain just kind of went. So, Maddie, what would your answer to I forget what the question was.
Well, I try very carefully to craft the words I use, and I'm a little bit more aware of how I present information than I used to be. I am now, because when you take the time to listen instead of trying to think of what you're going to say next, you're more aware of how a person is saying something and not just what they're saying. So I've been a little bit more attuned to what may be going on behind it, which has allowed me in the last little while, especially the more I know a person, the more I sense, for lack of a better word, their aura behind it. and I can feel a dissonance between what they're saying and how I think they're feeling, to let me think that in this situation there might be something more here. And what's really challenging is I cannot do that through email. I cannot do that through phone calls. I can't. And I've been like, I find now the places where there's most miscommunication happens to be in written form. In online is the worst place for communication, because you're stripped of context in the online world. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is when you are missing context, autistics get misunderstood, and they also misunderstood, and we overreact. And again, in the absence of data, we tell ourselves stories. And if all of the data we've had in the past is, we're best.
It's done.
And then there was two. We listen.
Goes off the rails, folks.
Exactly. Oh, it's just you and I. Okay. All right. I have things to do too. We all of the things in the past where we struggled. I think in our younger years, in our early years, we sort of can get, we don't see or care about communication outside of us. It just, we are us. Then we get into our tween and our teen years, and we get pushback, and we see that there's dissonance and difference. So we are hearing negative stories about us and how we communicate, and it's almost always our fault. And then as we get into our adult years,
it's perceived. So just to clarify, it's perceived as our fault.
Exactly.
And because that person lacks context, they assign us the blame.
Yeah.
And then we have no choice at that age but to think that somebody in a position of power is right.
Yeah. But hopefully at some point in our adult life, we have people that we can trust, that can tell us that maybe it's not us, maybe we're not wrong. And you know what? And I think it's at those moments that we can then start rewriting our story, because new data has come in, and it's about trust. And if we can trust that data, then we can trust a new story. And that, for me, I learned to listen, and I could, all of a sudden, I had I had new data coming in that I never had before. The thing I get most frustrated about is when people misinterpret what I'm saying or read into what I'm saying. I'm explicitly clear. The words I use have no other meaning except the meaning I'm giving them, and there's no other words in between them. But people are used to adding in meaning, because that's, people have hidden meanings. I have no hidden meanings. There's no hidden meanings before what I'm saying. And as Elizabeth and I think Sydney know, I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve. So you'll feel the intensity of what I'm saying. Like there's no different words, but there may be feelings, but there's no different words. I do not couch what I'm saying in a way of not trying to say what I'm really saying. I may lower the intensity of what I'm saying, because I out of concern for the person hearing it, but there's no other meaning to what I'm saying. So I get frustrated with that. But I find now that I understand what I'm seeing better, that I'm not, it doesn't happen as much as it used to. It happens with particular really people that just cannot care about the context they're seeing. They're stuck in their mind and their interpretation of things. That's hard, but that happens less, because I find that I'm putting myself less in front of those people. I have more confidence.
Valid. I've seen a huge change in the last 5 years, and which has been amazing to stand beside and watch that happen. There was two things that you said there. One is intensity. Mm-hmm. And I have had to work very hard on, I'm also very direct. There's also no agenda. I say what I say, and you don't have to worry that I'm trying to manipulate or whatever. And that has helped me a lot in the neurodivergent community, because if somebody does struggle with context or meaning or whatever, I will start out by saying, look, I don't lie. I'm not going to tell you what you need to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. And I think that's something that can be missing in communication. When people assume a bias of incompetence, they tend not to provide feedback. So if there are communication struggles, and Maddie and I have had these conversations, right, with going both ways around, okay, like we need to chat about. So one of the things that'll happen in the Google chat, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Like,
By the way, I'm not in Toronto at a tech conference today.
I see that. Because we had a conversation the other day where I was like, is that a good use of your time?
Yeah. Yeah. Elizabeth caught me in my processing of an idea time.
I caught you in between processing and action.
Yes. Yeah. I wasn't ready for action yet, but you got in the right time. Because it was the added on thing in the pro cons column that I needed.
Am I a pro or a con?
You're an Autobot.
I'm a what?
An Autobot. Transformers.
I know Transformers. Before I lose more weirdo points.
The Decepticons. Pros, cons.
I get it. Anyway, moving on.
I got Optimus Prime up there.
Love Optimus Prime. Yeah. I swear to God, I was driving down the 401. Hang on, I can't lose my Transformers thread, or I'm going to lose more weirdo points. I'm driving down the highway, and I look in the mirror, and there is a huge, like this thing was huge, black semi, and it was all black. And I swear to you, and I apologize but I went, Jesus Christ, I'm being followed by a Decepticon. Like that was a legitimate
Nemesis Prime. Yeah, that's
somebody
black version
in the Transformers universe was barreling along behind me. Yeah, exactly. And I swear to you, I'm like, that thing is going to turn into a robot in about 30 seconds. I was literally panicking. There's no reality in that, folks. But that's where my little brain went, was I processed from the moment I saw the truck through the movies I've seen to an altered reality where it could actually happen. And this was in like a 30-second window, and literally caused me to panic that this truck was going to turn into a Transformer.
Every time I go out, many times when I go out in my wheelchair and I leave my house, I think Autobots roll out.
Oh, that's nice.
That's what I need to. Halloween next year, I'm gonna be a Transformer. There you go.
So from an intensity perspective, that was a really important word, right? That triggers a whole nother thought. Is that if we are not aware, and I was not aware for many years about how intensely I can show up in certain conversations, and both Maddie and Sydney have seen the very high energy, happy side. And they've seen the fuck around and find out side, and not directed at them, but in situational. And I forget. I'm a short lady. Just for context, I'm like a short little over 50, 5'3", slightly fluffy white lady with very pale skin and blue eyes. There's nothing about me that screams danger.
Like red hair. That does though. That the red hair does. Okay, it's like seeing prickles on a porcupine. It's like something could be there. The red hair is like
I'm not naturally red, so that's
we don't know that.
Oh, you.
I was almost 10:30. I have a meeting at 10:30.
I know we're almost done. I know we've gone over again.
Just like
it's 1:18. It's been an hour and 18 minutes for the podcast, but we started late because of technical difficulties.
Yeah, so 20 minutes late. So.
Yeah, it was a thing. So from an intensity perspective, I think if you're in a situation and you are in a conversation with somebody who has been brave enough to share with you that they are neurodivergent, whatever that looks like for them, and take a moment to see how they need to process. Take a moment. It's not on them to constantly advocate. It's not on us to constantly advocate for what we need in the room. Take a moment, read the room. If you see people are showing up with either lower energy or just it's more subdued, it is not your time to come in and let it all fly, right? You got to read the room. There's no levity in that moment because you don't know the context of why people are a little more subdued. It could be fear. It could be just their low energy that day. It could be that they get overwhelmed by people with high intensity. And so we're not asking you to change who you are. We're not asking you to change who you are. We're not asking you to be something you're not. But what we are asking you to do is respect the other people in the room until you understand their context. And like, just, and I also understand from a neurodivergent lens that sometimes reading the room can be a challenge. And that's where asking for that feedback around like and I'm asking the folks on our team right now, the same question. What are 3 things like I need to do differently? Not better, not worse, but differently. And asking for that feedback can be a scary thing, but it's really critical for growth and change. And communication can make or break what you're doing either on the job or in your business or in relationships or whatever. And when we don't ask, we operate with faulty data, and that can continue to damage situations that we need to be successful for us.
One of the things I had.
So keeping in mind, Sydney's got to go.
Yeah. I was like, I have to go.
So Sydney, is there any little wrap up that you would like to put on that?
I think the only wrap up I would say is really take the time to recognize your own needs when it comes to communication, and also understand that others have different needs than you, and just understand those things.
Just be mindful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All you can do is try. If you're truly trying. So Sydney's got to go. I think Maddie and I are going to do the
Bye. I got to go in 8 minutes. So
me too. I know.
Yeah.
This is such a heated topic, though, because I know you and I have been in situations, especially at the leadership summits and other events, where people don't provide feedback on communication and don't take time. Okay, folks, just to be clear, this is not a license to go up to somebody who is potentially being highly energetic because they're struggling with overwhelm or they're struggling with burnout or they're struggling with something. This is not a license to walk up to them and lose your shit.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to try and check in with that person.
Yeah.
And first you need to discover if that's how they show up all the time, then that's a different conversation. But they might be on the struggle bus and maybe you can help versus hindering.
You only have control over how you communicate. And so one of the things that I've had to learn is, do I really need to say this? Do I really need to say something? And that goes for both verbal as well as online. That's the hardest thing. I was very much involved with Twitter, which is now Twixter. And it was so stressful and so toxic. So I started having to ask myself, do I really need to do this? I would write the post, but before I hit send, I'd ask myself, do I need to? Who is the audience? What's the value in this? Is it the right use of my time? Because I know that if I click this, I'm going to have a response, and I can't control the amount of response, but I know there's going to be one. Do I really need to do this? So I've had to learn that. But the other thing I've had to learn to ask is, when somebody's saying something, if it looks like they're asking for my opinion on something, I've had to learn to say, do you want my full opinion, or do you want just a quick basic thing? Because I will, if you want it, I just know that it will be, kind.
Will you call
but
it
full.
professor mode?
Oh, professor mode is what I accidentally go into when people start. I go spouting on about a topic, and I go deep into education. Yeah, that happens a lot. That's when I'm unaware. It's usually when somebody's like, my daughter says, "I think you're in professor mode now," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
So this is different because I do a similar tactic to Maddie. That I will say, if somebody says, I want you to be honest. Like,
do you
need to think about that?
Do you? Do you
and
really?
So I do. I'm like, hey, we don't know each other well, but
exactly.
I will say now, because I used to take that at face value, and I'd be like,
"Oh, open season here.
Well, that fucking sucks." Like, somebody asked me, they had purchased a new software for their organization, and I took a look at this thing, and it was just a heap of trash. And like, it was not. Keeping in mind, folks, I am in no way technologically savvy, but I'm also not technologically unsavvy. And I've done a lot of research. I own a technology company. I've co-designed a platform. Like, I have some minor compared to Maddie, minor, but enough to be dangerous.
I'm augmented.
And what's that?
I'm augmented. You're minor. I'm augmented. It's a music pun.
Okay.
Minor, major, augmented, diminished scales and chords.
Right now I'm diminished, but that's okay.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Sorry.
So then they showed me this
for the audience
platform and asked my opinion. I also didn't like the person very much. So I did not give them the buffered version. I looked at them and I'm like, it sucks. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, would you now I asked, how many examples do you need of how much it sucks? Because I can give you 5 right off the bat. I'm like, it's not intuitive. It's very poorly laid out. It is hard to navigate. There's no, this. It's not and they looked at me and went, well, I really liked it. I'm like, that's not what we were discussing. You asked what I thought about it. You can like it. That's totally fine. If you're going to go ahead and use it, like, go ahead and use it. But if you were expecting me to agree with you, then maybe you should have asked the question differently.
I've gotten much better about, again, it's not filtering. Well, I suppose it is, but it's lessening the intensity and focusing in, on the opinion and on like taking into account the person and not the subject first.
Valid.
Yeah, but there are some things that I cannot, my brain cannot hold back an unfiltered response. And that's usually in the case of something like, hey, we're going to use Teams for this meeting.
But that's also, just to wrap up, that's also advocating, because for certain individuals, Teams is not a great experience and can physically cause sensory challenges and what have you. Yeah. So that's not so much.
I know that, but
No, but for the audience, it's not so much that Maddie has a strong opinion about Microsoft. It's that Teams literally causes them physical challenges, and it
brings audio it can create audio meltdowns and shutdowns. And I'm having to use it more often, and it's really, really challenging. I love Word. I love Excel. I love PowerPoint. I used to love Access. All right, though, there are some really great tools that Microsoft has made. However, Teams is not one of them. Teams is just not one of them.
I agree. So at the end of it all, folks, one of the reasons we chose this topic is that communication is something that impacts pretty much 99% of your life. And if you happen to be neurodivergent, it can be harder to pick up the things that you might need to be aware of, right? And Maddie mentioned earlier about auras and things like that. And it's interesting because when we were in a situation and the less pleasant side of me came out in contextually, it was warranted. But I watched Maddie's face as that person emerged, and their eyebrows went up and their face changed and whatever. And I was like, oh, and in the moment I took note of it, but you were still
in that mode. Yes.
I was in the dark side.
Yeah. You were picking up data, but you were continuing the story.
Oh, it needed to. Anyway, it worked out in the end. Nobody died.
Yes, exactly.
But I wasn't.
No humans were harmed in that moment.
Almost.
Oh, yeah.
It was close.
It's all in love.
Not in that moment. But I wasn't aware I shouldn't say that. I have had a growing awareness in the last 20 years because of a number of people have said I physically change if I get angry. And, you know, it's an energy thing. And I've had people say to me, you have this light. And I don't know what that, but when more than one person says something to you, in my brain, it's worth exploring. So I've had both sides. I've had awareness brought to the Kraken sitting on my shoulder, and I've had awareness brought to the I wouldn't say angel, that's a bit of a reach, but you know, whatever symbol that could be for the.
It's a friendly demon.
It's
a demon that the demon says it loves you.
It's a friendly demon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll
use Fiona. So we'll wrap up. We'll use Fiona because
that relates.
I drive a green Mini Cooper, and my daughter came up with the thing, and so my green Mini Cooper is called Fiona, and we have Princess Fiona, and then we have Ogre Fiona. And sometimes the princess wins, and sometimes the ogre is like,
yes.
Yeah. More awareness around the ogre moments, because I wasn't realizing how that was impacting my communication, both giving and receiving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to build. And maybe we'll continue this on the next one to further expand on it, because it's such a complicated topic.
Oh, it is. Like we've talked to, like, there's so many facets of it. You know, it's the processing of communication. It's the doing. But honestly, when it gets down to it, when there's miscommunication, sometimes it's because it's our own. It's our own misinterpretation of the data. You know, and so we act within the stories we have for ourselves. Sometimes you just, you know, you need to. The only way to change the story is to reevaluate the data.
100% agree, and that can't happen unless we have communication situations going on. So thank you for joining us today, folks. If you happen to be neurodivergent, welcome to the Riff Raff. If you think you might be neurodivergent, you likely are.
Yeah.
If you're just a jerk.
It's a wide umbrella of a long sliver of humanity, in a small sliver of humanity.
True. We'll wrap up, because this is something Maddie and I talk about frequently and agree on. If you just happen to be a jerk, please don't claim neurodivergence. You're doing us all a disservice.
Yeah, that's a comma.
Don't talk to your mom.
Jerk, comma, neurodivergent. They can be coexisting.
Yeah, if you have JERK as letters after your name, please do not claim ASD, ADHD, DYSLEXIA. Yeah, just don't do that. Yeah, we don't like that.
It's something.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Disagree with.
Don't open that door. Okay, thanks everybody. We appreciate it.
Bye now.
Bye now.
Subscribe, and listen to us next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, this is Elizabeth Blue from Spiro Canada, one of your pirates on the Riff Raff podcast team. My fellow pirates include Maddie Dever from Autistic Bridge, Sydney Elaine Butler from Accessible Creates, and Paul Coleman from Creation Designs, who is our very own Arctic LARPing Santa. Thank you for joining us on the Neurospicy Seas, and we wish fair winds to you all.